Hi there guys and girls, welcome back to Kitchen Mud Table Modelling. And this time, I managed to get my hands on a brand new kit, so I'm happy. Icm's Bristol Beaufort Mark 1 torpedo bomber. Made by Icm. Ukraine's quite proud. Can't blame them at the moment, they're doing a good job. Won't get dragged into that conflict, not yet. Anyway, let's have a look. So Icm have a lovely colour artwork fronts, and then it's a solid white cardboard box, which is quite nice. Double packaging. Which is really nice actually. Quite like that. Quite a nice little style. Okay. Let's look at the box. Nice instructors, so you got your nice cover art, which is good, really high quality actually, quite proud of that. Both English instructions, and I'm going to assume that's either going to be Ukrainian or Russian. I don't know the difference. I am sorry. But you got a nice little spiel about the bomber itself, and some good information on the technical I can't talk this morning. Technical specifications. Once again, good color chart. Actually, not just like, oh yeah, deep brown and a number, dark grey and a number, yellow, chocolate, blah, blah, blah. Actually gives you the Revel copy, the Revel numbers, the Tamiya numbers, the ICM numbers. Also as well, a photographic indication of what the colour is. So I use Vallejo colours quite a lot. Occasionally MIG and occasionally Tamiya. So I generally ignore the numbers and go off the visuals. Apart from that, tells you what sort of varnishes you should be using, the typical instructions, colour use, assembly, make ×2, optional, open hole. They also include a scratch build one, which is quite nice. Okay, so all the parts layouts, really nicely done. And obviously the brown highlighted boxes are parts not used. So you get 2 ×E sprues, and that's going to be all your canopy glasses. Apart from that, I do like the 3D CAD style drawings. It is quite a nice touch. Something I did notice from the initial parts layouts. Okay, so before I get onto that, so by the looks of 2 options. So there's going to be a land bomber option and a torpedo option, by the looks of it. So something I did notice, having a quick glance through before I started the video, no crew for this one. Is a bit of a personal bug for me. It's not hard to put in some crew in an aircraft, but that's enough for me whinging and moaning. I have found some crew that will facilitate the role in this on eBay. Good old eBay, first time using it, to be honest. I'm 29, I've never used eBay. Hey. Okay, so going through, so engine construction. Once again, no specifics on how to have the wheels up. Come on guys, please, for the love of anything, I'm not going to say the other word because YouTube will have a hissy fit, and I'm sure there's people out there that will have a hissy fit. So please, 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 can we start putting in instructions how to have the landing gear up, especially when it comes to ones like this which have open wheel wells. Rear turret construction. Okay, so this is where it starts to differentiate underneath. So you got 5 variants. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. 5 different variants of this. Okay. So one is going to be your land bomber. And variant 2 is going to be your torpedo bomber. Like 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to be your torpedo bomber. Okay. Optional rear-facing nose turret. And I can turn the page. And torpedo on its own. And it's nice they've included a trolley. So you can display the torpedo mounted onto the trolley, which is really nice actually. And also, they've included a mast template. So that makes life a lot easier. So obviously they're the parts for the glass which aren't used. But these are. So this is going to be an interesting development. As buying masks, yes, it's great. But for people who are on a very tight budget, don't necessarily have the means to buy a masking set. And this is perfect. You can literally bang a bit of masking tape over it, cut it to shape, put it on the aircraft. And they also include, obviously they're all numbered, they also include where to put them, where they belong, etc. And onto the camo schemes. So, obviously, aircraft, blah blah, what squadron it belongs to, and the time period. Really nice. Really nice instructions. Put this somewhere safe. Oh. Decals. I took these out of the box earlier when I was having a quick flick through. Really nicely printed actually. Don't appear to be too thick or too thin. Really clear. You can read quite happily what the tiny writing says on there, which is nice. They were tucked in the instruction book, so they were quite safe, but I took them out when I had a quick look through the box earlier. Okay. That's not a good sign, but not a bad sign. By the look of it, it's the only loose part in there. Oh, plastic noises. Okay, so first things first, wings. Really nicely detailed actually. Not thin, flimsy plastic. There is quite a bit of rigidity there until you get to the sort of edges. No ejection pin marks on the exterior surfaces. That's really nice. Okay, what we got here? Okay, so engine cowlings, control surfaces, interior, sealed bomb bay. Okay, by the looks of it, 2 different designs for control surfaces. There's nice one-piece tail with some nice ribbing canvas effect on there. Lovely. Quite bland control panel, but not necessarily a bad thing. All the dials are ridged, so they will stand out quite nicely once the decal has been applied. Onto the underside. Once again, no visible ejection pin marks where it counts, and everything appears to be well thought out when it comes to part attachment points. So, like, this is the interior. That's it. That's the underside of the bomb bay. So, yeah, that is the underside. I thought that was the inside. Okay, so what are we on to now? Okay, pilot's area, seating, radio, engine cowlings, more control surfaces, the engine, this has radial engines, not piston engines. So it's nice to see they're quite well moulded. Nice detailing around the exterior. Same as the pilots. I assume this is pilots. Seating area, you got the panel lines around his control area. But it's nice to see they have a support sprue in the middle, so they're not going to get crushed. And they've got a support sprue around the outside. Flip that over. Quick look on the underside. Okay, a couple of pin marks in there, but by the looks of it, they're not ejection pins. They'll be for mounting something. Okay, right. So that's your torpedo sprue. You've got trolley components down either side, torpedo in the middle. Really nicely moulded. Really nicely moulded. Okay, right. So this is going to be the rear turret by the looks of it. How much to say on that? Excuse me. Okay, so wheels, exhaust components, landing gear, machine guns, engines, and propellers. The wheels are nicely moulded, nice exterior line detail where the tread is on them. Engines as well, fantastically moulded, because these are air-cooled engines. So they've got nice cooling vane marks. They're actually detailed in there. Ah, well, loose one. I'll have a look at that one. Same again with landing legs, nicely riveted. Propellers, really nice, really nice. Flip this one over. So interior of the landing gear base, control levers. Slightly concerning, that was slightly bent, but this is a duplicated sprue. So where are you? You're there. Okay, your one's fine. Happy days. Look at this one. Okay, so this one lost two of the bits, which I can see there. Not the end of the world. They're quite easily identifiable parts. Yeah, that one's nice, so that's the one that's going to probably be used. Same again on the back side. Really nicely done. Okay, so loose bits, we've got one radio engine. But really fantastic. On the camera side, what's focus? Really fantastically moulded. So you've got cooling vanes on there. The top of the cylinder heads. And the exhaust ports on the back. One's on there, and that's going to be a control surface. Fantastically moulded, so you can actually feel the effect of where the canvas is spread out over the ribs. Really nice. Second to last, the actual main body of the aircraft. So you've got some nice ribbing effect on the interior, which is really nice. Any ejection pin markings. So one little one down there on both sides, and one hiding up in there. Because there is a panel that fits in here, so that's going to be really nice. Let's flip it over, have a look at the outside. Again, nice panel markings. That's something I've noticed on this already. There is no flash at all, which is going to be a nice change. Okay, so clear parts. Ugh, bloody plastic. I don't know what that noise was about, to be honest. Oh well. Okay, so clear parts. Absolutely crystal clear. No fogging on them whatsoever. Okay, the first tiny little bit of flash there. But really, really beautifully moulded. Really nicely moulded. And quite like that one. The cockpit is actually an extended, not trying to slot an angled bit into a flat part, which always makes great fun for trying to glue clear parts. But I'm going to try something out with these before they go anywhere near the aircraft, and I'll put that in the video. Something I saw involving that. So the premise is, before you put them anywhere near the aircraft, you actually dip them in the clear gloss. One, it then protects them from any glue marks. So if you have to use a non-PVA glue, so it's like I use that one. If, say, for example, you have to use Tamiya, extra thin cement, or Humbrol, Revol, multiple other glues, they tend to mess your glass up. So it'd be interesting to see how that comes out and how that's affected with this one. Apart from that, that is everything that's in the box. I did say I had used eBay. That's been hiding in the corner of the screen. So I got these little numbers off eBay. Yeah, they're just 3D printed little figures. There's a variety of them: face masks on, face masks off, etc. So, and they were, I think, £9 for 6 of them. Or was it 8? No, 6. And they came in the post last week, so really pleased with that. Just in time for this. So, right, enough me waffling. It's gone on for 17 minutes. Let's get on with the show. Right then, guys. So this little video snippet's earlier than I normally do it, as something I need to talk about with this one. Okay, so as you can see, I've already filled and sanded quite a lot of joins on this one, and same applies to the underside, length of the body, and the underside of the nose, as well as landing gear. So you just flip it over. There we go. So length of the tail, same with the ailerons, around the wheel wells, and the engine nacelles, and around the front of the fuselage here. So the Mosquito I did went together really well. There wasn't any need for any of the main fuselage sanding, which is great and fantastic. This, it's not as noticeable as it would be on the Mosquito. As the Mosquito is a rounded fuselage, this has got a flat base, flat bottom, and the top's rounded. So it stands out a little bit less when it comes to surfaces. But the main reason I've plonked this in is, as you probably saw from the previous clip, I don't know which side that is. Look at it, a car. That'd be the right wing. Went on absolutely fine. All this was dry fitted before I hit record. So the right wing went on absolutely fine, so did the left wing. But when it came into practice of actually applying the glue and getting it on, the left wing doesn't want to fit 100%. So as you can see here, nice steady join. I mean, might go over the top of it with a little bit of putty and give it a quick sand. But this side, nice steady join. Oh dear, great big gap. I don't understand what's caused this. It would appear there's a high point here somewhere, which is making it either rock backwards or forwards. I don't understand. I can't find anything. When I run my hand over it, it is smooth. And like I said before I hit record, I generally dry fit the parts I can dry fit to make sure it's going to go together nicely. So two choices with this. I can either use what I've been using for the rest of the body and what I used on the Mosquito, which is Mr. Dissolve Putty. Fantastic stuff. You got to leave it for a little while so it goes hard. And if you apply it with a brush, enamel thinners, because otherwise you will screw your brushes up. Or option B, this stuff. I've got a new one somewhere. There we go. So this stuff is water soluble. So this comes down to the decision of how easy is it going to be applied, how easy is it going to be to remove the excess. When that requires enamel thinners, this just requires water. So it's going to be Mr. Green for this one. I'll do this while I've actually got it recording. So a nice little applicator nozzle on the end of it. Gentle squeeze. Tap the lid back on. Now these are lovely little tools. You can normally pick them up in most good model shops. I can't remember what they're called for the life of me, but soak that in water. So the putty doesn't adhere to it. And gently run it along that crack. Now I'm going to come back with a cotton ball in a second, just soak up the extra water, but this will also help with making the minimal sanding possible. Clean up the area surrounding it. That simply just showed me, yeah, okay, I need to apply more putty as it is sunk down into the recess. So repeat the procedure. This time I'm going to be working from back to front, squashing it down into the recess. This time I'm not too worried about if there's excess, as it will get sanded off. The problem is, at the back here, it's a nice aerodynamic shape. So trying to fill that aerodynamic void and make it look presentable, like it's the edge of the flap at the same time. Okay, that looks pretty good. Leave that to dry. Let's flip it over. Have a look at the underside. Okay, I took the Bombay doors off because I knocked one with my hand and it came and it bent. So okay, I'll pull it off now before the mounts actually snap. Same as the front antenna. Okay, so the underside, it's not as bad as it is on the top. Check the other side, see what the other side looks like. Okay, so it's literally that seam there. And you know what, for good measure, we will run a small bead across here. So I'm not really too worried about making a huge mess at this point, because this is going to get treated with 1000 grit sandpaper, so it will be smooth. Apart from that, aircraft went together really well. As you'll notice, the propellers aren't on. You're meant to put the pins into the engine, into the radio engine through the center and then mount the blade into the front. But I've decided to do it a different way, as I'm going to experiment something new with these. See how it pans out, see how it goes. Do quite like the little trolley for the torpedo. That's quite a nice touch. I'm not going to be using the trolley for this, but I am going to save it for something that's coming up in the future, as it's an interesting little piece that I've not seen before. The trolley, not the torpedo. Let's chuck a little bit more on there. Give us a little bit more to work with later on. Get that pressed into the recess nicely. Like I said, not too fussed about making a mess at this point, as this is going to get all sanded out. But as a preference, if you've got to choose between a gap at the front of the wing or a gap at the back of the wing, you've got to look at it as what is going to be easier to sand. Like, okay, the back of the wing, I can get in there quite happily with, the paintbrush or the pointer. Get in this area quite happily with sandpaper without bashing at aerials or worrying about if I smack the landing gear, etc, etc. But if I'm trying to sand this area here, you've then got to try and recreate the aerodynamic profile of the wing, which can be a bit tricky if you're not very good at sanding or very new to sort of the idea of sanding. But at the back of the wing here, it is primarily a flat surface. And the same on the other side. Even though it be an angled surface, it is primarily a flat surface. There's no large amounts of curvature to it. So overall, very happy with the kit. Really pleased with the amount of level of detail, especially the interior detail. Really quite surprised with that. Let's flip that back over. Okay, so not my best figures in the world, I know. I am sorry in advance. So so the cockpit, you've got place for a navigator / bombardier, pilot, center, you've got the radio operator, he's sat next to his radios, and then you've got the ball turret, well, top turret at the back end. And there wasn't physically enough room to get a figure in there, so he is sat behind this window here on the in-flight toilet. Yes, this does have an in-flight toilet, and yes, he is sat on it. So all 4 crew are in there. I was having a look a minute ago how visible these guys are through the windows. They're not really visible at all, which is a shame. But the cockpit is made up. So the pilot is taken from a Mark 18 FX Spitfire kit, and the navigator / bombardier is from the eBay set, same as the radio operator, and who would be the rear turret gunner, but is currently dropping a torpedo of his own. So I'm going to jump back into time lapse to the end of the video, and I'll see you at the end, hopefully.
Well, hi there guys and girls, welcome back. So this is the end of the airframe build. The only things I've got left to do is mount the propellers and whatnot, but I'm going to try something new and different with those, so I've left them off for the time being, but you'll see that in a little bit. Overall, kit, fantastic, really pleased with it. Well done, ICM. Things which were a little bit daunting for me on this one was this entire nose assembly, as this was all clear plastic, which is a bit of a daunting perspective. But actually came out really well using their masking guide in the actual instruction, which was nice. So the masking guide itself is printed on gloss paper. So when you put masking tape on it and cut it out, it doesn't adhere to the paper. You can actually peel it off again and put it on. But the only thing I will say is some of them had to be trimmed down a little bit, and some of them just flat out I replaced them with Maskell, like this little one up here and these two, just quite simply because of their size and complexity. Final points of the kit: the panel lining on this is really goddamn good, actually. Really pleased with it. But the main thing I want to bring up is ICM's decals. Let's have a zoom in, see if we can make it out. Terrible camera work, I am sorry. See if we can make it out. There we go, perfect. Okay, so this one here folded over on itself while trying to get it onto the airframe. A little bit disappointed, it came out a little bit wonky, but not the end of the world. Doesn't really detract from the entire model, as it is in a position at an angle where you're not looking at it directly. Your eye is drawn away by the roundel and the tailpiece. So not the end of the world. But ICM decals straight out of the box, I was really surprised. A little bit of microset, a little bit of microsole, and the decals actually sink straight into the panel lines really nicely, which is a real big thing for like Tamiya, I know for a fact, thanks to the Mosquito. Their decals are quite thick, so they do struggle to adhere to the panel lines. But these guys, straight in, microset, microsole, went straight in, really nice. Really pleased with it. A little bit disappointed with two things. I don't know if this is something I've done, particularly, but I've used the same clear gloss varnish as I did for the Mosquito, and the Mosquito came out absolutely wonderful. But on this one, it's left some white residue here on the tail and here under the gun. If I flip it over, and the same again here on the underside. I don't know what that is, but it kind of pays off in my favour for this, as this is a unit that will be flying over the sea a lot. So I'm just going to kind of pass it off as salt residue. When the aircraft's been flying, it's picked up salt from sea spray. But once again, these are radio engines, they're not inline engines, so they do not run as cleanly as a Merlin. Where they're radials, they do kick out quite a lot of crap. So as you can see, kind of reflected it with quite a heavier engine weathering, with more exhaust pattern down the inside the wing. And overall, this side is a bit of a melanoma to me. So I'm going to pay it off, as she got a little bit too close to the water. She's been splashed and it's picked up the crap and spread it down the back of the airframe. pays off quite nicely. I know it's a bit of a get out of a jail free card, I know, but hey. Apart from that, I was really pleased with this one. And instead of ending the video here, I'm actually going to jump straight into doing the little vinaigrette for this one. I can put the effort back in frame. I'm actually going to pan off and go straight into doing the vinaigrette for this one. As at the point in time I'm filming this, there isn't any out on YouTube at the moment. There isn't a build video, a vinaigrette video, there is nothing. So hopefully this will be the first one out there, but we'll see. Right then, let's get on with it.